What's going on, everybody? John Arapola here with my MMA news, and today's guest just defeated Dr. Luki Gambula by a second round KO at UFC Long Island. Pleased today to be joined by Puna Soriano. Puna, I know we did one of these interviews a little while ago. I believe you had the first knockout of the year. Was that 2021 or was it earlier? No, 2021, I believe it was. So it's nice to see you again, and
Yeah,
nice to be
yeah.
talking about another victory here.
Oh, definitely, man. It's always nice to be talking about a victory. It's always nice to have a victory, and everything's better in life when you're just coming off a fresh victory. There's not much you can really complain about or should complain about.
Yeah, I hear you there, man. It has to be such a great feeling. And I actually want to start right there. We were talking about how great it has to be about talking about a victory because for this fight, you were kind of in an interesting spot in your career, right? You start out, you're 8-0, you drop back to back fights. So when you're coming into this fight, are there any like nerves or any pressure given the results of the last two fights? Do you feel that your back's against the wall or anything like that?
In a way, like I felt like I dealt with that the whole time throughout fight camp. Just like day in, day out, like my free time, I'm thinking about it, like going to eat at the PI, thinking like, oh, if this is the last camp I'll get to eat here. I'll watch other fight cards in the weekend and I'll think like, oh man, hope this is not where I'm gonna be fighting after this card, just scary thoughts. But it's weird because by fight week, for whatever reason, that all just disappears and all I think about is fighting.
And now I do want to ask you about something else too. Coming into this fight, it was something that the commentators had brought up, and if I'm wrong here quoting them, please correct me. But I believe you told the commentators that you had spent a lot of time for this fight, specifically working on your cardio. Why was that, and what were kind of some of the things that you did in order to improve the cardio?
Um, yeah, I did. I was always working on my cardio. I think that's a big part of my game. I see a lot of critiques about it. Um, but it's just I fight hard. I always have good cardio. I think I always had good cardio, and I just fight really hard. And I'm still just getting better at it. Every fight you see me in, I'm getting so much better. And not just like fighting skills. I'm getting better in like cardio. I'm getting better at composure. I'm getting better all around the board with every fight. And it's just all a part of the hard work I'm putting in.
And now we open up this interview, right? So we're talking about the mental side of the sport, getting a little bit of a physical side of the sport there. I do want to ask you now about the gym with Extreme Couture because obviously they've seen it all when it comes to fights, working with so many different guys over the years here. Just how important were they for you to have in your corner through all of this as you go through kind of like this little rough patch in the career where you don't know what's going to happen, and not only improving that, but just obviously improving as a fighter, like you've been saying, like you've been doing.
Yeah, for sure. The coaching staff there from top to bottom is always consistent. Everyone's always trying to get you better and get you to the best you can possibly be. But I feel like one guy, even though it was only like a 2 week period where he really got to work hands on with me, just because of like our fighting schedules. Chris Curtis actually like after his fight with what's his name? Drawing a blank here. After his not the past fight, but the one right before it. Um, he just Rodolfo. His last fight with Rodolfo. Sorry, there it is. So right after that fight, he comes back into the gym Monday, just hands on, just going like anything he can do to help me. Be a look, anything he can do to help me in any area, pushing me, picking me up. It was great. He really helped me out.
So obviously, all right, Chris is a great teammate there. I do want to get your thoughts just on his fight too before we get into yours here. I know he just suffered a defeat over the weekend to Jack Hermanson, and obviously, kind of a close fight there. He was a little emotional afterwards. I know him and Jack kind of patched things up there and all that. But just your thoughts on his fight.
Yeah, I think it was awesome. Curtis showed what kind of guy he really is. To take that fight and to go all the way across the sea to enemy territory, and to take that, and you just kind of see who they really are. I don't think that loss takes any steam away from Curtis and what he's been able to do in the UFC. I don't think it stunts him at all. It just puts him back and just gets ready for the next fight. And I think he's still just blasting off in the middleweight division. So I don't know, I'm excited for him still.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment there too. I don't think it takes any, I don't think you lose any stock in anything there in that division as well either. But now I do want to get into to your fight here a little bit. Here we'll start kind of breaking some of the stuff down here, and we'll start off with the fact that you and your opponent used to be training partners for a little bit at Extreme Couture. So I guess two-part question here. Number one, was that weird at all fighting a guy that you used to kind of train with? And then number two, the fact that you guys did get to train a little bit together, was there anything that you kind of knew coming into the fight that you would have some success in some areas?
Um, yeah, it was kind of strange. It was mostly strange in like that fight week area where like I would see him in like the hallways. I would see him in like the I don't know, the elevator or something like that. And it was always just that awkward like I don't know, are you mad at me right now? Are you my friend? You know, just weird. But funny story, I remember like when he first came to the gym, just seeing him like, oh man, this guy is huge. I don't even know if we can train together. He might hurt me. It's just funny that we end up fighting.
Yeah, it's funny how that ends up playing out, and it's funny too because the sport really is a small world at the end of the day too. The other thing I wanted to ask you about for preparing for him, it was kind of unique. So he was a few inches shorter than you, but then he comes out for the fight by the fight stats they had that he's actually 3 inches longer than you, which is pretty crazy to think about. So how do you prepare for a guy that's kind of built like that? 'Cause that's a unique build to be shorter, but then be longer than you at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely weird. He can like scratch his shin standing straight up. But I had some good looks in the gym. Like I said, I had Chris Curtis for 2 weeks. He's pretty similar to Dosha. Dan Ige, interestingly, has a pretty similar build, short body, long arms. Nicholas Molto is another guy I was training with, kind of similar. But no, I've dealt with guys with long reach before. Jamie Pickett has a crazy long reach, and I've just always found a way to work through it.
Gotcha. So now let's start breaking down the exact X's and O's of this fight here. We'll start with the opening round. There was a moment, I know he was landing a few leg kicks. One of them kind of made you drop down like a knee. Obviously, got right back up. But was there any effect from those leg kicks at all in that opening round that he was throwing?
Um, I wouldn't say in terms of slowing me down. Yeah, that one like surprised me and it knocked me off my feet. But I was right back to like having my eyes on him, having my base. But like right after the fight, when the adrenaline stuff wore down, that hurt, man. My calves were sore.
I bet, 'cause I know, and he landed a few of those too there in that round there. Just curious too how you thought that round kind of played out there, and then what was kind of the advice then for you going into the second round?
Yeah, he landed a few of those leg kicks, and I think it was cool because like they were super fast and they were super hard. But if you watch by like the third one, I'm able to like finally like see it and I dodge it, and then there's no more of those. But I think the first round was super close. I would say he probably edged it out with the takedown and control time, but I thought my shots were doing way more damage than his were doing to me. I felt like I wasn't really hurting there at all. Got some good knees in there, and I just felt good. I felt like my composure was there. I was there to fight. I didn't let him intimidate me, and I just like thought it was a pretty ballsy performance. You know, to fight such a explosive, fast, like hard hitting guy like that, just to fight him in his face like that.
All right, so now let's get into this knockout here, right? 28 seconds into the second round, so not a lot to really break down here, but kind of just take us through that knockout.
Yeah, I honestly it was kind of just like instincts. Just blocked the kick, and I guess I came up with the hook and threw the two over, and yeah, caught him with the that last uppercut, and I think that's what broke my hand. But yeah, luckily it ended there.
And I was just gonna ask you about that broken hand there. I know you told me that was off air that you were telling me how you are out right now with the broken hand. Just kind of talk about how
Mhm.
long you think you're going to be out. What's the recovery looking like? I know the UFC is great with handling a lot of these injuries and that.
For sure. Looks like it'll just be a cast for 4 weeks. I do have one final appointment today just to make sure. And if it's setting and healing how they want it to be, then yeah, just 3 more weeks in this. and then just straight to physical therapy and getting back to full strength.
Gotcha. Now let's get into a few post-fight things that I want to ask you about. First of which, we'll start right there in the octagon, right after the win. As you're getting interviewed there inside of the octagon, we can see you kind of fighting back the tears a little bit, very emotional. Just talk about what that emotion was like afterwards. I know we talked a little bit earlier on about kind of a lot of the things mentally that was kind of going on coming into this fight.
Yeah, for sure. Just a lot of built up, camp was tough. I worked really hard. And the more I think about it, the more I feel like it was maybe more of just me realizing that like my recipe for success still works. If I go to the gym and work as hard as I can and just do all the little things right, then for whatever reason that recipe still works for me, and that feels good. That means I still got some skin in the game.
And after going through all of that, right, we talk about the emotions, we talk about just there how hard training camp was, everything that goes into getting this win here. I'm sure the celebration had to be pretty sweet there. What was the celebration like afterwards?
Oh, it was crazy, especially with the fans there. Like I feel like I was possessed by the fans. Once that they stopped the fight, I just looked up, just felt the electricity from the crowd, and that was it. I was possessed. I couldn't even control myself. Blacked out and went wild.
So now, obviously, you go back to the West Coast, back out to Vegas with a broken hand, but you also go out with some extra cash too. I know Dana White gave you a performance of the night bonus there for the knockout. What was that like, getting the bonus there, and any plans for the extra money there? Or is it just going right into the bank account?
No, it was cool. I mean, it kind of sucked because I broke my right hand, and like once a lot of people found out, they were like high-fiving me and shaking my hand. So it was just like more people hurting my hand that night. But it was cool. I was super happy. I wanted that bonus for a few fights now, and I finally got it. And honestly, it just makes me more. It makes me hungrier for more, I guess. I feel like now that I finally got one, I can get more and more and more. I just gotta keep doing it.
And now the big question, obviously, what's next? We know you're gonna miss some time, obviously, with the hand, but do you think you could get back inside before the by the end of the year? You think maybe with that injury, maybe early next year? What's kind of the game plan for the rest of the year here?
Man, I hope so. Shoot, I want to fight, and I want to fight often. I want to keep entertaining the way I did, and I can as long as I'm healthy. And but only time will tell. I'm gonna do everything in my power to stay healthy, to stay in shape, and to make sure that my hand is fully healthy. And that's all I can really promise.
All right, man. Appreciate all the time here today. Last thing before you roll out now, go ahead, plug your social media so everybody knows where to follow you at. You have any management, sponsors, coaches, teammates, whoever you got to give shout outs to? Anyone you got to plug? Floor is yours. Take it away.
I don't even know all my social media accounts, but should be like Puna Soriano, some sort of way of that. Just shout out to Monster, Modelo, Ali, Dominance MMA, everyone there. Yeah, everyone at Extreme.
All right, Puna, thanks again so much for all the time here today, man. Really appreciate it. And best of luck with that hand injury there. Hopefully, we'll get to see you back inside the octagon before the end of the year. But again, congrats on that win. And I just want to thank everybody that watched today's interview. As always, just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate everybody watching. Please, if you like today's interview, please go to the bottom, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And you guys know the drill with the website, MyMMANews.com. Great work comes out there literally every single day of the week. So make sure you guys keep your tabs on the website as well. We'll see you later, everybody.